Well, we tried to organize the Tropical Authors website and the group of people that we have. And so we decided on a Zoom call with some of the key people in the group. And that turned out to be me and Nick Sullivan, Nick Harvey, and John Cunningham. And before long, the idea came up, I think it was Nick, that we should all write a book together. And yeah.
The next thing was, well, none of us have time, so yeah, that's a good idea. We'll do it at some point, right?
Exactly. It wasn't anything planned for real soon. In my mind, I was thinking it would be next year, and so I just set the idea aside, and then all of a sudden, Nick had the first part of it done.
Yeah, and I remember sending it to Hicknick there, and he's like, well, I'm traveling to Tennessee. I'm going to be, then I've got this going on, then I've got that going on. So it'll be a couple of weeks, and then I'll take a look at it. Then I think it was 2 days later, he called me back.
Yeah, about 2 days later, I had a big start. And then I think maybe in 10 days, I had everything clean. Yeah, I remember thinking, oh, I'm not going to get to this until Labor Day. But no, it happened very fast.
All right. Okay.
I remember from narrating Wayne's books, I've been narrating them since the beginning, seeing Buck Riley show up and seeing Stephen Becker's Mac Travis show up. So the idea of letting other characters cross paths had always struck me as a good idea. Even Stephen King does it, I believe, although it's between his own little books.
Yeah.
So I thought, oh, that's a fun idea, and I think it turned out well.
Yeah, so what I thought was a lot of fun about the way we set up the book was, I followed after Hicknick, and who followed after Britnick, and I had no idea what the story was going to be. You guys called me up and said, okay, this is what's going on, this is where we are, and it's up to you to run it however you want, take it wherever you want, and then you're going to hand it off to Wayne. So it was like, wow, okay, this is pretty fun. It's like like just jamming music, basically, where you sit down together and just start playing. So that was really cool. And then, of course, Wayne had no idea what he was going to inherit as well. So it just made it really spontaneous and immediate.
So we had this, once we came up with the concept, hey, we're going to have a story, how are we going to do it? We had to sort of step back and think about it. And I think during the original Zoom call, we said maybe there's a separate protagonist that's in none of our books. It's this new character that travels through the whole thing. And so when I started writing, I invented this fellow, Nathan, who's just an everyday guy. And I decided, well, I think we talked about it. But anyway, I started writing it in first person. So the funny thing about writing in first person is 2 of us write that way, 2 of us don't write that way. And none of us have written that way from this guy Nathan's perspective. So we were all looking at our characters from the outside, and that was the idea of Nathan. He was able to travel through the storyline, which ended up going geographically around the Caribbean to where our characters could be involved, and Nathan would observe everyone. So we were, for like Wayne and John, who write in first person, now they were set back writing first person, but in a different person, looking at their characters they normally write in first person. So it was kind of different for all of us, which was a neat challenge, I thought.
Yeah, I was extremely pleased with this Nathan character that my fellow Nick came up with. He was just the right kind of guy, someone that is almost immediately out of his depth, but is extremely competent. And the setup couldn't have been better. I know we're talking about the character right now, but you can't divorce this character from the setup that went with him. And it was just tailor-made to send it through our different groups. And Britnick is absolutely right. This was a fun opportunity. I'm one of the third-person writers. Since my books bounce between Boone Fisher and Emily Durand, I can't really do first person since they're their own thing. So this was a wonderful way to have somebody else give a very fleshed out description of their appearance and personalities. Loved it.
I thought one of the interesting things. Well, Graceless is named after Grace, which is Nathan's wife, and it's Graceless because she's missing, and he's put into that situation where he's got to figure it out and find it. So that was interesting, and of course, Grace was a mystery because we really don't know what's going on with her. So as her character unfolded, really just through discoveries, and our characters kind of helping Nathan. It really kind of made the story interesting. But I think the first person part was really hard for me because, as Nick points out, I write the Buck Riley series in first person from his perspective. And I can't, however many times I edited or other people edited, they kept finding, misrepresentations where Buck was doing it in first person every time he was showing up. It was so hard for me to take myself out of his mindset and writing from his perspective. So that was fun. And then, trying to describe your character as other people see them, because that obviously never happens when you're writing in the first person, unless they're looking in the mirror, which nobody would do, of course. So that made it kind of interesting. I mean, I've written other characters in first person, so the Nathan part wasn't hard, but Buck, who I've written so many books about, it made it a bit of a challenge, but fun at the same time, because you did get to kind of describe him in a way that I've never done.
It's funny you mentioned that nobody would do that, because I did. In one book, Jesse is standing in front of the mirror shaving, and he's looking at himself, and he still sees the young man that he was, but he's now 25 years older, and he starts looking at the lines in his face and describing it in narrative. And but writing in first person is pretty easy for me, and writing from Jesse's perspective is real easy. But then all of a sudden I'm writing in first person from somebody else's perspective, and that really threw me for a loop for a while. But I also write a third person series, so I was able to adjust. But I did a lot of I saids when it should have been he saids, and he saids when it should have been I said. But Nathan was the perfect conduit to visit all our different worlds. He was just a regular guy that everybody would like. He's a high school football coach. I assume he's probably a teacher too. I don't think we delved into that, but he is a coach. Yeah, he was just the perfect conduit to go through and visit all our worlds. And he looked upon each of our characters with a different sort of awe as he went through each one and all their different abilities and characteristics.
I should pop in here about talking about the first person and third person. Britnick, I know shortly after this, then wrote his new Nora Summer series in first person.
Mm-hmm.
And this experience with Graceless, I've decided at some point I'll have a reason for Boone and Emily to split up completely, and I'll do a novella for each of them in first person, separate, beginning with separation and coming back around. But that I don't think, if I hadn't done this Graceless project, it wouldn't have occurred to me to change the perspective.
Yeah, so working with the three other authors, is interesting because you don't know what to expect. But I've known Wayne for a long time. We've hung out in Key West together before. I've known Nick a little bit, and Nick, this was actually the first time we really kind of worked together. Or we still need to hang out, but you hear about authors, successful authors with their big egos and what a pain in the neck they are. Geez. Fortunately, it's not true. So working with you guys was a lot of fun. And again, just the creative aspect of it, and really just taking it person to person and enjoying your characters being with my characters, and really kind of seeing how we could do other things together. Not to mention, I think Buck may have had a crush on a couple of the ladies that the Knicks handle here. So threatened to include them in one of my books, but I keep being told, no, you can't do that.
Only if Buck gets rejected.
Which I think you've already made happen. So,
Yeah.
Fucking Nora would be kind of a May, September kind of thing anyway.
yeah,
It's only 19.
yeah, that could be trouble. That could be trouble. But no, it was a lot of fun writing with you guys, and a great process, very smooth, really organized, and I think the end product came out fantastic. So, really happy with it.
Yeah, Britt and Nick mentioned something that some of our listeners here may not realize, or they might know it on one level, but not realize how involved it is. But UK English and American English have a lot of differences beyond the occasional word being spelled slightly differently. Punctuation and structure. It's so for Nick to start off our series and be forced into U.S. English, I'm sure was challenging. He got me back. We just co-wrote a novel with our characters set in the Cayman Islands, and we agreed that would be in UK English. So I got a hard and fast lesson.
I think Wayne went through and took all the S's off my toward.
Yes, I did. I didn't know that was a thing.
I'm reading one of Nick's books for fun right now, Nick Harvey's books right now, and I wrote him and said, "Man, your editor must hate you. You know, with all of these the spellings and everything else in UK English." And he said, "Well, I have a British editor." I'm like, "Okay, that makes sense."
Yeah, yeah. And you can call it UK English, but it's English because it's from England.
Well, as John said, he and I we've known each other for a long time. Of course, I've known Nick for much longer. I mean, we first met in 2015 when he first started doing my books. And then this young upstart from England came along, and it just seemed like such we're an eclectic bunch, that's for sure. But we have so much in common, and that spirit of freedom that we all share as independent authors, and especially as sea adventure authors. It's not something that you can just talk about with anybody else. And talking about it with you guys, it's just so easy.
So from my perspective, working with everyone, I was scared to death, to be honest. I was flattered to be asked on the Zoom call originally by Wayne to talk about the Trop author stuff. And then we started tossing around this idea, and I'm like, well, I don't want to miss out on this. So I got to start it. So, and I couldn't get it out of my head. I was in the middle of writing one of my AJ books at the time, and I set it aside because Nathan popped into my mind and I started writing. But for me, it was the easiest, really, because I did the first part. So the scariest was sending it off. And I guess I decided that I wasn't going to send it to everybody. I was just going to send it to Nick. And Nick and I had talked quite a lot. I was pretty comfortable with Nick. And I thought, well, if he likes it, then hopefully everyone else will roll with it. And by the time it gets to them, it's half done anyway. So what are they going to say? So that's the way we did it. We just Nick and I had a Zoom call when he'd read my part and was ready to do his. We talked about some plot lines, and off he went. And then we did the same when he was done. He sent it back to me. We chatted about it, and then called John and said, "Here you go. Here it is." And he read it and then got on a chat with the three of us and went, "Okay, what am I supposed to do with this?" Whatever you want. Just don't kill Nathan.
One thing, don't kill the dog.
Don't kill Nathan and don't kill the dog.
I was certainly nervous about what I would get because, if you're going to take off with something, you need a lot of material, a lot of things set up. And hopefully not everything is spelled out where you have no wiggle room. And we can't do any spoilers on this, so I won't go into the details. But Nick provided a series of circumstances where there really could be about 4 different explanations for why certain things happen. And even some of those 2 things could be true. It was really the amount of possibilities were good. And I actually tried to keep a lot of them open for John once it went to him. I thought, well, I'm not going to start explaining everything. I'll just drop some hints about what might be kind of fun, but it could be a red herring or it could be an explanation. So I hope readers and listeners, if you get the audiobook, will be kept guessing quite a ways into this book. So having done this experience, I think we've all discussed how some of us were terrified when we started and some of us were too busy, and yet, bam, it all happened very fast. What do we think about doing another one of these? Graceless is coming out at the end of January, but it might be, oh, there goes my dog. It might be something we want to keep tearing ahead with. So I don't know, does anyone have thoughts about continuing this?
I mean, I think it was so fun for one, and because it's a novella, so it's not like writing an entire book by yourself. You're writing a section, which is great. It's smooth, it goes quickly, and you're kind of teed up, aside from Britnick, who kind of starts the whole thing, but I'm guessing he may have already thought about what he's going to do next time anyway. But so you're kind of teed up and you just pick it up from there. So yeah, I'd totally be down with doing it again. It was a lot of fun, and worth mentioning that we have when we do this, we're not doing it for kind of personal gain. We're doing it to raise attention and capital for tropical authors. So all the proceeds that come from it are to really help promote the tropical authors, who are, is a big group that, that a bunch of people in our genre, to try to bring attention to this, these books and those people. So definitely worth continuing to do.
Well, I would definitely do it again. It's like John said, it's not like you're writing an entire novel. It's going to take you 2 or 3 months. Section of a 40,000 word novella is only 10,000 words, and most of us write more than that on Facebook every day. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I'd definitely jump right back in it. And I'd challenge all the other tropical authors to do the same. This, like John said, it's the Graceless is 99 cents. That's what the price is going to be, and it doesn't cost a whole lot. We're not going to make a whole lot, but all the money that comes in from it goes into the Tropical Authors Fund to keep the website alive, to run the newsletter, and to promote it. So we'll be doing some promoting and advertising for all the authors, and there's 35, 40 something authors in the group now?
36. We just added Matt Lincoln.
So yeah, with 36 authors, we have a whole lot of books that we can push. And the sea adventure genre, action adventure, sea adventure, tropical authors, whatever you want to call it, it's a very small niche, but it's really hungry. It's ravenous. Our readers just devour everything as fast as we can put it out again.
It's it's good to hear you all say that, because I've written the first part of the next one.
Something told me that was going to be the case.
Yeah, in my spare time. It's I guess we'll reveal. It's called Timeless, which I thought was a neat carry on from Graceless, and that's certainly the working title. And it starts off in Grand Cayman around my characters, and while Nick Sullivan's characters are currently in the Cayman Islands, I thought it was a good opportunity to hand it off to him. So I should be able to give you something here in a few weeks, Nick, and then we're off and running. So what do you guys think about a release date? When could we put this out?
We're going to do a good 6-month pre-order, I think. So late summer, early fall, August.
I think late summer might be good. Folks are getting those last beach reads in.
Let's shoot for August.
Let's do it.
Right.
Sounds good. We'll pop a link in the back of Graceless. So, and then that gives us a hard date. So it means we have to do it.
Well, that was the plan all along for this video session. Lock them in with a date.
Yeah, pin you all down. So, well, cool. It's been incredible writing this with you guys, and I'm looking forward to the next one. So, thank you all very much, and I hope everyone out there enjoys Graceless and the next one.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Cool.
great experience, a lot of fun. Look forward to doing the next one, but I'm looking forward to people enjoying all of our characters coming together, which they have in little snippets here and there, but I think in a really great way with a nice kind of setting at the end where they all get to hang out as well. So pretty fun.
Yeah, thanks for all the support that everybody has shown us. It means a lot to us. The reviews, buying our books, it's all great. But getting a bunch of people together like this, it's so much better. And it was just a lot of fun. And I'm looking forward to the next one.